So we're making the essence of Xmas today. Essence of Xmas, you can call it whatever you want. Essence of December, essence of Christmas, essence of the holidays, winter solstice essence, Santa sauce, whatever you wanted, just make it because this is so fucking good. You're gonna have to bleep that out. It's so good that I've been posting it for the last couple of years on Instagram, and I send out a reminder every year, and last year it went semi-viral and I got some great feedback about it. Candice did a poll on Instagram. What was it, like 92% of the people wanted a YouTube video showing how to make it, so this is what it is. Here's the ingredients that we have. This is actually the bits that are left over from last year. I'm going to open it up so you can smell it. It smells so rich and complex and alcoholic. Even though this is not really alcoholic, but it's the smell of everything that has been married to each other for a year now. This really is the smell of Christmas. We're going to use this as the starter for the batch that we're making now. So I have 1 apple, 1 tight-skinned orange. It's slightly important to have a tight-skinned orange as opposed to a loose-skinned orange because it just stays together instead of disintegrating. And
what do you mean by loose?
Like, you know, there are some oranges that you can peel easily with your hands. Like, this is not one that you can peel. Like, you have to cut it. So that's what I mean by tight-skinned orange. So I have the apple, the tight-skinned orange, lime because I couldn't find any lemon, and I have a small knob of ginger that I washed and cleaned off all the dirt, but I haven't peeled it. You want the peel because that has a whole bunch of microbes on it. The apple does as well. Then I have a shot of water kefir to use as a starter. I have some dehydrated koji that we're also going to use. This is optional. You don't need it, but it's good to have. Koji makes everything better. This is kind of like a mixed spice, and I have the recipe for this in the course of this video or in the description below. I have some homemade vanilla extract, which is just a whole bunch of vanilla beans with some vodka, and they've been sitting in this, I don't know, for a very long time. I'm just using regular white sugar. Any sort of sugar really will do. If you don't want to use sugar, honey is also great. But when I use sugar with this one specifically, I like using either brown sugar or white sugar. Organic is great, but if you can't find it, regular sugar will also work. Why I like using a regular sugar as opposed to, say, a coconut sugar, a palm sugar or something like that is because the flavor is clearer when you use regular or brown sugar than it is with other complex sugars. With something like this, it's the flavor of the orange, the apple, and the spices and all of that. I want that to shine and not get clouded by the type of sugar that you're using. What I'm going to do is cut all the fruit up and put it into this big bowl. So I'm going to set this aside and start chopping the stuff. We've sliced up all our fruit in sort of bite-sized chunks. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of this spice mix. If you like warm Christmassy spices, you can go with heaped teaspoons. Otherwise, 1 to 1.5 spoons work well. The sugar is about 75% of the weight of the fruit. So my fruit, including the ginger, weighed about 500 grams. So this is about 375 grams of sugar. And this is going to help this whole essence ferment slowly. Break everything down. I will do is also add in last year's essence, which will add some complexity. I'm not even going to wash this jar out. Once this is done, I'm going to fill this jar back up with the essence of Xmas. At this point, anything that would have grown on that already. It doesn't look like there's anything growing on this. It's just like syrupy, and it still smells good. So no, I'm not going to wash it out. Also because it's almost like that environment is protected. I don't want to mess it up. This is about 60 mils of water kefir that goes in. Piece of dehydrated koji. It'll rehydrate with all the juices. Don't need to do anything to that. Bit of vanilla. If this is in your spice mix already, you don't have to add it, but I always like an extra bit of vanilla. Mine is a bit weaker, so I'm adding a bit more, but you can add in 1 teaspoon of it and it'll be fine. We just stir it all up. And the sugar is going to take a while, maybe like overnight or a couple of days to dissolve. But you can start using it almost as soon as it starts bubbling, which is, like
fermenting.
Yeah, bubbles are always a good sign of fermentation. And this will all kind of marry together, and like the more time they spend together, the better it's going to taste. It's a tradition in the Kobo household to make it. So I think 1st of December is usually when we make the first batch of the glue wine using this essence of Xmas. So already you can see this is starting to release all the juices and getting more liquidy. Yeah, it doesn't even need too much of mix. And now I'll just top this up, liquid and all, into this jar. Do you have any questions? They're typically not like Christmassy, not seasonal around Christmas time either. So this, and not traditional, but you can add fermented blueberries sitting around. Yeah, feel free to do it. Actually, you'd be interested in this. In Mexico, I have a friend who does this version, but she also makes a Mexican punch, which I know you do at the restaurant. She does a fermented version with guava and tamarind, and it sounds so good. I want to try that. Kind of like this. So we should try that. She also puts in sugarcane for the sweetness. Look at the difference. Like this, the old stuff is almost like dark brown compared to the new things that we've added in. So cool. It depends on how sweet you like it, how much gets used up. If you're throwing a party, then the whole thing will get used up. So it really depends. But the good thing I like about this is that it's the same amount of work. So if you want to make like double this whole thing or even quadruple it and put it into small jars, they're great Christmas gifts. And also what I like about it is that it's almost no mess, no prep kind of glue wine that you can make really quickly. It's very single serve friendly, so you don't have to make an entire big batch with like 1 or 2 bottles of wine. You can make a single cup for yourself if nobody else is interested in drinking, or like, yeah, but you can also do this thing not just with wine but also with kombucha, with apple juice, with all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, make it non-alcoholic. It doesn't have to be alcoholic stuff. I'm going to set aside so we can taste some now. I'm pouring in like any of these bits of liquid and sugar that are at the bottom of the jar. It might be slightly messy, but there you go. Use this up for our drink. Now make this and tell me if it has changed your life, or at least your Xmas game. It is really a staple in my house and with a whole bunch of friends. This is going to sit out at room temperature in my kitchen from now until at least the 1st of December. This keeps for more than a year at room temperature, so feel free to make a bigger batch. In the next video, I will show you how to use this to make yourself some mulled wine. If you make it, tag us on Instagram, we're at Kobo Fermentary. You can also hashtag Kobo made me do it, and how you're doing it, if you're putting your own twist on it, if you decide to do it a different way, if you're adding other things, tag us and let us know, because that'll help us improve on this naan recipe next year. So here it is. Essence of Xmas. Oh, obviously, you're gonna have to bleep that out.